As I figured tonight, before we start playing or anything, I wanted to do my first official map tier list for Search and Destroy. So this is going to be my map tier list specifically regarding Search and Destroy. Now, know that some maps and different game modes have different spawn areas and overall have different objectives and different hot areas, cold areas, and things like that. That being said, I wanted to specify that this will be a tier list regarding Search and Destroy. Now, some of the map names I'm a little hesitant with. I don't know them officially. Well, I don't know how to pronounce them exactly, but for the most part, I do. The first map I want to talk about today is Hydroelectric. Now, Hydroelectric is a very unique map. It's a very different map than most of the other maps, mainly because it has the water element, right? Just like the last Airbender, water is an element in this game. It's the only map I'm aware of for Search and Destroy that has the ability for you to go in water, and really you can swim all around the map. I do like it. I think it's a unique quirk to the game, but I do think it's a little gimmicky reliant. I think a lot of times the water can kind of be a pain in the butt. You can literally go in the water and get behind both teams regardless of their on attack or defense, and a lot of times I find it to just kind of be a nuisance of a map more than anything. I do think there are some cool angles that you can hold with sniper rifles or ARs, and I think overall to start it, I'd put it in the B tier. I don't really think it's a bad map, but it's definitely not a map I get excited about playing. So that's Hydroelectric. Next, let's move right over to Border Crossing. Border Crossing, let's see if we can find it here and get it in the background. Border Crossing is yet again another map that is currently in talks of being removed from the game due to it being too close of a replica to an actual border crossing. I don't know if that's even really accurate. I don't know how serious it is, but let's talk in regards to just Search and Destroy. Obviously, this map has gotten a lot of flack due to the amount of cars that are on it, due to the fact that it has a lot of explosions. But I kind of want to take it from a different perspective of, you know, when you play this map, you should almost always put on that perk that allows you to take less damage from explosions, because it won't prevent you from dying from an exploding car, but it will prevent you from being exploded by a grenade. So if a grenade hits a car and blows up but doesn't blow up the car, you won't die. So I think a lot of people just need to get in the habit of putting it on. Overall, I'm not a big fan of it. I think it caters really easily to players who want to play really prone, or players who want to get on top of vehicles and play with sniper rifles. So overall, I would put it in probably C tier, but for Search and Destroy, I think I'm going to put it in D tier. And that's that. Now let's talk about Tyrak. Tyrak is, I think, the biggest open map in the entire game. I don't think there's any map at all that is more open than this map. It's huge open fields. On attack, it can be pretty hard to cross at all, because where you play on attack, in order to get to the bomb site, you either need to cross a huge open field by a building, or you need to cross twice, mid and then one more time to get to B. That being said, I do think it's a pretty good map. I think if you get a coordinated team, you can definitely use smokes or use stuns and coordination to cross. I do think it's a pretty heavily defensive sided map. As we go through here, and I'm thinking right now, I don't think there's really any other maps that are defensive heavy or defensively favored. I think we'll talk about two maps that are really offensively heavy, but as far as Defense. I think this is the only map that's defensive, Haley. I like it. I'm never too upset when I play it. I'll definitely put it in C tier, and I think it's a good overall map. So let's go to this one is a map I was worried about pronouncing. Makoto Los Alums. We'll call it that. This is a good map. I really like this map. This was one of the maps that was in the beta. It was one of the maps that, as far as I understand, didn't have any tweaks from beta to release. And I think it's a pretty cool map. I really like the idea. I like the angles here. There's nowhere on this map on defense or attack that you don't have to necessarily cross any hot points to get to the other side of the map, right? Both attack and defense, you can kind of cut through the middle, or you can cut through the side. Both sides have a alleyway that you can go on. However, the defensive sided alleyway is much more is much more safe. There's really never any hot play by it. But it's an exciting map. It's a really, I think, well put together map for Search and Destroy. I think it's one of the few maps that was designed for Search and Destroy. I really feel like it is. They have implemented all the other game modes, but I think overall it's a one of the better maps in the entire game. Specifically for Search and Destroy. There's a couple angles that I know that I've used that I don't think a lot of people are used to yet for sniper rifles. Negatively about it, gosh, the only negative thing I think about this entire map is the little area in the middle where the market is. That's really it. You can kind of see it in this picture, but that middle area, it's only because if you get stuck there, there's like 3 angles that anyone can come from, and where these maps are universally small, I do think it can be a pain in the butt. But overall, I mean, it's definitely an A tier map for me. This map here, it's a good map for Search and Destroy. We talked earlier about maps that don't really favor defenses. I said there's a few maps that really favor attack, and this is definitely one of them. I think you can get this bomb at A planted within 10 seconds, maybe 15 seconds. But if you have someone with a knife who's running with a knife out and you send a squad with them, definitely you can get this bomb safely planted as long as you have someone with you within 15 seconds. I like it overall. A lot of these maps, and I haven't really been playing too much Search and Destroy on Call of Duty over the last 5-6 years, but a lot of these maps really give me the feeling of, like, you know, in other games where it's a bomb and 2 sites to destroy, like CSGO or Valorant, both bomb sites are relatively easy to get to, and you will play on both bomb sites. But in this game, and specifically this map, you know, a lot of times people just go to the same site. I would honestly say out of every 10 rounds I play on defense, probably 8 of them go to A site, and maybe 1 goes to B. I think B is good. The only thing I think people worry about with B site is that it's there's the big soccer field you have to cross. But overall, I do think it's a good map. I would like to see people play B site a lot more for Search. I would say I'm excited to see the pros. I think this should be in pro rotation. I'm not too sure. I couldn't really find the pro rotation, but I would like to see some more elite players. And I definitely put it in like a hydroelectric feel, right? Like, I'm not too excited to play it. I'm not too excited to play it. I'm not too angry if I get it or anything. So it's just a map. I mean, a B tier, really. Okay, let's go to Crown Raceway. Now, this map, if you've been following Call of Duty, has had some controversy as well, alongside multiple other maps. This map was originally taken out of the game and then added back once they changed the name, and they changed a few other things about it because it was too similar to an actual Formula One racetrack. So they definitely had to change that a bit. I don't really like it. You know, I think the thing with the border, right? A lot of people don't like the border map because it has the cars that explode and people just chuck grenades and stuff. Crown Raceway is just it's just a mess. I don't like either way. I don't like the open track field. I don't like the small buildings on the other side of the map where you have to try to run through. It seems like someone's always beats you there, and it seems like it's just not a good map for me. For search and destroy, at least. I like A side, but A side is like the A bomb is right on top of the defense's spawn, and people always go there to throw grenades. And then B side is inside a building where you're planted with at least 3, probably 4 other angles people can camp you. So as I'm looking at it, I think this will be the only F I put in the game, but this is actually the only map that I play that I'm like, should I just dodge because of the map? I don't have any fun with it. I don't really like it, and I really wish it wasn't. I wish it wasn't in the game. But from that, let's go right to Embassy. Embassy is, for search and destroy, one of my favorite maps in the entire game. I enjoy this map. I personally, if you watch me stream, I have a few tricks on both sides that I play that I've yet to see either people talk about, people expose, or people counter. There's a couple tricks with angles that I think are really, really exciting. Obviously, the worst thing about this map is the sun. I think the sun is so bright. Supposedly there's a way you can get rid of it in your settings, but I don't really want my tier list to be based off of graphical changes. I really shouldn't base it on how it looks either, because you really want to base them. But I feel like the sun is such an element of this game, this map, where it's stuck in your face for so long. And I mean, I've already lost rounds and lost games because I can't see where I'm shooting. Now that is a real thing in real life, right? Like if this was a realistic thing, you know, the sun would be there. But I do think if the sun wasn't in this game or on this map, it would definitely be an S tier. I even would put it above this map. It's just the sun is too not for me. I think it really misses the mark. And from that, we'll go to Farm 18. Now, Farm 18, if I'm being truthful to you, Farm 18 was a map that I was like, this was my favorite map to play in beta. And it was my favorite map to, like, of all the maps and all the game types to play in beta, Farm 18 was my favorite to play on all of them. And I would always be excited. I was always, you know, happy to play this map, and this was the map that would get me hyped and get me excited to play. However, with full release of the game, with a couple new maps, but more importantly, all the guns, I feel like the reason I like this map is a lot because it felt like whenever you'd play search, it was just 6 people with sniper rifles, and it was a lot of fun. But now you have people with ARs, you have people with shotguns running around, and I feel like it's just taken a little bit of what I liked about the map away. I almost always never see people on the roofs anymore because people are just going to hide with ARs, and it's easier to get the people off the roofs because there's so many more angles in which you can shoot people off. A site is still really cool to plant, much like the other maps we talked about. You can get the bomb planted within this map. I think is the fastest you can plant it, because you can dolphin dive onto the bomb. So if you were to time it, I would say it's probably the fastest. But overall, I mean, I like this map now. I'm more bummed because of what has happened to the playstyle since the game came out. So I think I'll put it in the best C tier, and I think I like that. I mean, I like it. I might move hydroelectric. I do like hydroelectric. I might switch these two. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I like hydroelectric more than this, but I might just bring hydroelectric down to C tier. Yeah, that looks better. Yeah, that looks more like my yeah. Yeah. All right, now let's go to hotel. Like I said at the beginning of this video, hotel is like, I think out of the rotation. I haven't played it in 2 days. So I'm either getting really lucky or it's out of the game for right now. But I'll talk about how I've played it before. And I like it. It's a fun map. It's a very good map. I'm not really excited to play it, but I'm also not mad about it. I think whatever kind of class you bring into it, assault rifles, shotguns, snipers, SMGs, whatever, it's a fun map. I think there's a lot of areas where you can play both. I would definitely say this is a fun map. If you're looking for a good search and destroy blueprint, I definitely think this is one of the maps. I don't necessarily think it's better than any of these three, so I think I'll put it in B. Putting it in A just doesn't, well, yeah, I mean, you know what, I think I would put it at the bottom of A tier. I think I'll put that at the bottom of A tier. And yeah, I'm liking it. And last but not least is the Fortress. And if you haven't caught on, I've saved the best for last. This is, without a doubt, my favorite map in the entire game. I think Fortress is the closest thing to a perfect map for me in my playstyle in Search and Destroy. I think both rounds, attack and defense, allow both teams to either play very aggressive, very fast, very high paced, or they can slow down, be a little bit more methodical, check a little bit more corners, and everything like that. I don't think there's anything wrong with this map, because I think in regards to Search and Destroy, where both teams will get to play from both sides, allows for the advantages and disadvantages of both. If there was one thing, and this is just kind of in my own brain, it would work better. But the B site, if they changed which end of the area where the B site is, and maybe in post-production I can kind of show you guys a little bit better, but if they were to move the B site from where it is to the end of the area where the other side, I think that would be a better place. Because right now I think it just kind of sticks out and it's just kind of right past the door, where I think if you were to put it at the other side, it would really allow a lot more post play and a lot more like ability to play the game. But overall, I think it's the best map for Search and Destroy in the entire game. It is a map I get excited about playing. It is a map that if I could play 10 times in a row, I would. It also it's the only map that has like different doors on it, and I think those doors are really cool. They're not singular door frames that open one by one. It's a double door that opens in the middle, and I do think that is kind of cool, because that allows you to peek through and you can spam bullets or throw grenades through the middle of the wall, which I think is something cool. But there you go. I mean, that's pretty simple right now. Before season 1, that's my official tier list. I'm just looking it over. I think everything is right. The only thing, I mean, what I really care about is if this is my favorite map and this is my least favorite map, and I do think that is true. I think Fortress is my favorite map, and Crown Runway is Raceway is yeah, it's an awful map. I really think it's terrible. I like this. I like this tier list. This tier list looks good to me.